Here at Disgustipated Podcast, we strive to bring you the insufferable tooltards, the latest in tool news, tool facts, and tool history. Well, today, in rare fashion, I get to bring you all three. In breaking news, I've discovered a tool recording from 1993 hidden on another band's album. Ingenious. Hilarious. Here's Tom with the weather for more on this story. But I'm warning you, he's gone total toolanon.
Well, Jeff, to say I've gone total toolanon is a bit dismissive. Who are you to wave your finger? Maynard is talking to us in code. Maynard straight shouted out the podcast.
Okay, the rabbits is a good point. I see your point.
With the poster.
And the rabbits are sexy. The rabbits are sexy, I get it.
The poster? Do I believe the TV is talking to me? Yes. Do I believe the phone is talking to me? Yes. Well, it's definitely listening to me. All I did was listen to Rosetta Stone at an obscene decibel level, and Facebook tried to sell me Krispy Kremes, Sunkissed and Sudafed, and a pin, because you know I forgot mine. Do I believe Magnard James Kenyon is communicating with me through code in the TVs? Let's not cripple our communication, and let's define communication.
Total tool-anon.
Well, Jeff, foot and mouth and a head up ass. It's difficult to dance around this one. Stick with me here. Here's your first clue. Clue 1 is your name on his shirt.
What you talking about?
Sure, it says La Jeffa, but you spell your name with one F. La Jeffa translates to the chief. Is he wearing my name on his shirt and saying, "Fuck you, I'm the chief"? Clue 2. Rabbits. We are Disgustipated Podcast. Named for the last song on Undertow, the hidden track, the 69th track, Disgustipated, in which Reverend Maynard proclaims, "Damn you! Let the rabbits wear glasses!" Episode 1 of the Disgustipated Podcast, we discussed the lyrics and the show at the Scientology Center, which Maynard also references in this interview. And that also makes me think he might be referring to our podcast. But here's the kicker. Just before that, to make sure he really had my full attention, Maynard, or Nard as I like to call him, he makes a light, playful jab at me in episode 3 in which I said Louisville. Louisville.
I'm in Kentucky, which, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to unpack in a statement when I say I'm in Kentucky. I'm in Louisville, luckily, I think, but I'm not from Louisville. And it is.
At least you're saying it properly.
I feel like I would have to at this point. I've been in Louisville for 25 years now.
Are you from Louisville?
Louisville.
We interrupt this program to bring you...
Yo, Mom!
Tool will tour in 2022. And I know that because you're a future person, you got tickets to the Louisville, Kentucky show at the KFC Yummy Center.
Louisville,
Kentucky show.
Louisville.
Oh, Nard. Oh, Maynard. Oh, you silly monkey's uncle, you. You silly goose. Oh, Nard. You silly goose.
Back to you, Jeff. I think this might be one of those diss track things like the rap guys do. Or maybe Maynard just stink-fisted your weathered butthole over the way you mispronounced Louisville. And here's a word from our sponsors.
Disgustipated Podcast is brought to you by baldness. Does your hair cause you undue stress? Are you tired of telling it to lay down and stay out of your food? Get bald. It's easy. Are you tired of finding stinky dreadlocks and skullet hair in your cereal? Get bald. It's easy. Just take 1 mile long serving, 6 inches at a time, of Oops All Maynard cereal. There's Billy D in every bite. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
Tool Music does not share the opinions of unofficial Tool Podcast Disgustipated, its host, Jef Briggs, or any Tool tards associated with Disgustipated Podcast. As a matter of fact, they'd probably rather you not listen at all. And Tool Music would like you to know that, technically speaking, they're only partially brought to you by baldness. Get bald.
Is this a rap guy style diss track? Diss track. Yeah, check. 1, 2. I'm a rap guy.
Are you from Louisville?
Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville?
Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville?
Louisville.
What's your name? Ben. Where are you from, Ben? Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, welcome to America. Thank you. Ding, 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 ding. I'll meet you in the parking lot. All right. Whoa, hello. Ben's a nice man, isn't he?
Hello, Seventh-day Ascendist children, to the Indigo children, the unofficial Tool podcast, Disgustipated, that goes elbow deep, overthinking and analyzing Tool songs. Keep in mind that this podcast is unofficial, that these are my opinions and will involve some speculation with a large hooker with a penis-sized serving of facts. Let's get into the facts. In an interview with Kyle Meredith about Pussifer TV, Maynard is asked about knowing a band named Love Jones from Louisville. Maynard responds, "Those pricks. Boy, we almost got murdered at a Scientology center once with those guys performing. It was a glorious night." And would not elaborate any more on the story when asked about it. Did it on a Louisville podcast, mentioned the Scientology Center, and I'm going to a Louisville show. He would not elaborate any more on the story when asked about it. He said, "No, let them tell that story." Nope, let them tell it. Well, if them is me, then I'll take that as your blessing, Maynard. Here's the quick hard facts. Tool's first full-length album, Undertow, was released April 1993. In late April or May, Tool played the infamous show at the Scientology Center. To quote the Scientology Xenu website, Tool followed a performance by Love Jones, and barely had the rust note been struck on Jones' guitar when a fury of shirtless bodies began running in circles and flinging their arms in the center of the room, pushing anyone nearby out of the way. Before the first song was even finished, a fight had to be broken up. Love Jones is signed to Zoo Records, the same label that signed Tool, and the same man signed them both. Tool and Love Jones. Lou Maglia also signed Green Jello. According to Wikipedia, Adam Jones is responsible for getting Love Jones signed to Zoo Records. Love Jones released Here's to the Losers on October 26, 1993. The album Here's to the Losers features the song Paid for Lovin', and it was featured in the movie Swingers with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau of Marvel directorial fame. The CD track list skips number 4, only listing Santa Monica and Orange between 3 and 5. The unlisted track 4 is Tool performing an obnoxious rock version of Paid for Lovin', which is track 5, performed by Love Jones. Paid for Lovin'. The vinyl edition just arrived. I have the CD version. I bought it, the original 1991 CD, and inside there's actually a picture. You can't see it here, but inside the booklet there's a picture of them recording the album, and you can see Adam Jones and Maynard. I believe it's Maynard. I don't have that as a fact, but when I look at it, I see Maynard, and I'm pretty sure I've seen that hat before too, that Tool hat. But I can tell it's Adam Jones, and I'm pretty sure it's Maynard. The vinyl edition just arrived, and the track list on it, the Santa Monica, is not listed at all. The Wikipedia article about the Love Jones album, Here's to the Losers, says, in 1992, Love Jones signed with Zoo Entertainment BMG. The band was first brought to the attention of Zoo Entertainment by guitarist Adam Jones of Tool, who was with the label at the time. The band would eventually contribute the hidden song Santa Monica and Orange to the Love Jones album, Here's to the Losers. On the Love Jones website, there's a 25th anniversary reissue of Here's to the Losers on vinyl. That's what I have here. It's a limited edition of only 500. It's a double gatefold jacket, and it's got one of the oldest Tool recordings, besides Tool Records. It's got a 1993 era recording of Tool hidden in the middle of the album. I think it's actually 2 vinyls, 4 sides, with 5 unreleased songs. And of course, on the Love Jones website, it lists Paid for Lovin' Tool version right before Paid for Lovin'. So the mystery is solved. Santa Monica and Orange is Paid for Lovin' Tool version. I think on Wikipedia it might have said Noise version, performed by Tool. I read that on a website somewhere. Again, I post links to all of my research, or what I can remember to post the link to, in the description below. I've also got links to Disgustipated Podcast shirts. This is one of my oldest Tool shirts, but Tom with the Weather is wearing an OGT Disgustipated Podcast t-shirt. I'm going to be making more designs here shortly, and when I do, the OGT shirt is going to be saying goodnight as soon as I come up with the next design. While I'm talking about Tool facts, Justin Chancellor had a birthday recently. Happy birthday, Justin! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! For some reason, it just comes out Australian. Justin Chancellor also just joins Instagram on his birthday. Global Orning, his website and distributing company for all his artistic output, joined Instagram. He also did a really funny Christmas skit to promote his Crybaby Fuzz pedal. Really awesome pedal, but a hilarious Christmas skit, and Danny was the largest little helper I've ever seen. Danny Carey is an elf, you gotta check that out. Justin Chancellor also had a recent collaboration with Eric Imprada. That was fucking awesome. It was like totally soundscapey, percussive, weird, harmonic, meandering, psychedelic journey. It was... Boy! That was really awesome, but the Christmas skit really had me laughing my balls off. I think the humor gets left out of Tool, but I'm here to bring it back into the spotlight. Here's Tom with the weather.
As you can tell, there's a cavern of treasures which no one has been to. I'm just going to hang this here over Maynard's atrocious rabbit poster. Seriously. Seriously, Maynard. What became of subtlety? My name on your shirt and the Louisville thing?
Louisville.
Louisville, Kentucky show.
Louisville.
The Louisville burn got my attention. But the rabbit sensualities went too far. What do you think, MJK?
Name's Jeff.
Okay. What about you, Adam?
What did you say?
Say about 4 degrees this way? 4 degrees warmer? You're colder. 4 degrees warmer?
Sir, you need to leave.
Yes, ma'am. But before I go, here's some Tool news with Tom. Today, a young man wearing steampunk goggles discovered a hidden Tool song from 1993 on the album Here's to the Losers from the Love Jones. An amazing collaboration with Justin Chancellor and Eric Imprada. A new song, if you will. Really awesome. Very cool, very cool. And in Justin Chancellor news, happy birthday, Mr. Chancellor. Happy birthday. Seriously, happy birthday, Justin Chancellor. Justin's company, Global Orning, joined Instagram on his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Chancellor. As I said, Justin's company, Global Orning, joined Instagram. Interesting times to be a Tool fan. Interesting times indeed. As I said before, they are free agents, and they could be queuing up to release something much larger for us fans in the future. Picture this, if you will. Adam Jones' Witness, Part 2. I was privy to an internet video that seems to be a Part 2 to The Witness, Adam Jones video. Does this mean a possible Tool movie in the future? A full-length film? Could all the videos they've talked about in the past, like The Pot and Opiate re-recorded extended version, could they all be leading to a film as a whole? Could they all be combined and condensed into one larger, full-length film? Adam, is it possible that we'll see these videos in a special Christmas broadcast?
Merry Christmas.
You heard the man.
You just always hear Tool talking to you, huh? Tool's gonna be talking to you through every interview from now forward. Total Tool and on. Tool's hard for life! Speaking of talking, the spoken word song Message to Harry Manback from Tool's Anima album has always been a hilarious mystery, with the band weaving a web of deceit, giving the track different origins in interviews. Somebody said it was a roommate. Somebody said it was an uninvited party guest. Well, the mystery of Message to Harry Manback is now Legend of Harry Manback, a mysterious autobiography written by Francesco Sonoio, the alleged voice of Message to Harry Manback. The Italian accent of dubious origin leaves a terrible Yelp review of an asshole American, and somehow it made it onto the Anima album. The Legend of Harry Manback is an alleged autobiography, an autobiographical mystery, if you will, that allegedly tells the true story behind Message to Harry Manback. I ordered a copy for myself, and if you do it through the right website, Francesco will personalize it for you. I ordered it directly from his website, and Francesco signed it for me, and we'll see what kind of message Daddy receives. I'll read the autobiographical mystery and report back to my Tooltard and Toolanon brothers and sisters. Tom with the weather thinks he can get an interview with Francesco to hear that golden voice tell the alleged true story of what happened in the Legend of Harry Manback, once and for all. More on that in the next episode. The 7th day of every month. 7th day Ascendist. On to my Tool collection. As you can see here behind me, this Love Jones album has been here this whole time, but they're directly Tool adjacent. They're not quite Tool, so I also pulled from my Tool collection, because this made me think of it, the Opiate 21st Anniversary Limited Edition reissue of Opiate with brand new art by Adi Granov and signed by the entire band. At one point I had 4 of them. 1 out of every 1,000 of these had a golden ticket for an unnamed prize. So, like any good OGT, I bought 4 of them. And I gave 1 to my father, which, by the way, 2 years in Valhalla for the man himself, my father, the legendary Tool Dad. The epic Tool Dad that was my father bought me this beautiful guitar back here, this Paul Reed Smith, if you could see it. I got it right before my first show with my prog band Vociferous Mutes. We played a show in the middle of a wrestling ring. The drummer said, "You don't know what it's like to play a drum set that's running from you." It was awesome. Happy 2-year anniversary of your birthday deathbed. My dad loved Stone Temple Pilots and got me into Tool. He was always a huge musical inspiration of mine. He heavily inspired all my musical tastes. I'll go into my Tool origins maybe next episode because it's Anima related. But about this Tool limited edition 21st anniversary Opiate reissue, I thought it was possible that they hid the mythical Problem 8 on the USB drive that comes with this. Or possibly, I know that they've recorded an extended studio version of Opiate with Justin Chancellor on bass, and I thought it was possible at least that it would be hidden on the USB drive or maybe on the Opiate reissue CD itself. But I listened to it, and somebody said it sounded like it was remastered, but I don't know about that. But there was nothing on the hard drive that I could tell. And later I'll take it out and maybe take some pictures and post those up of the hard drive itself. But there was no Problem 8. Is Santa Monica an orange Problem 8? But was it success finding a hidden Tool recording? Yes it was. And when I say hidden, look, besides doing a Tool podcast, I have a lot of Tool knowledge hidden in my noggin, and I have my tendrils out into all the worlds of Tool, between their website that used to give all the background secrets and keep up with all the old interviews. I'm also on the Reddit. I'm also combing the Instagram hashtags, looking for old pictures, new pictures. I put a lot of effort into bringing you guys things that, well, I haven't seen and I don't see on a lot of other people's pages. if it stands out to me, plus if it calls out to me in the way of synchronicity and things happening, I tend to use those. But I have my fingers squarely on the pulse of everything Tool. And this song was definitely hidden. Was Maynard talking to us? That's still up for debate. I don't think so, but Tom is totally convinced. And totally Tool anon. But what is success? I found a Tool recording that was new to me. Was it problem 8? No. But it was definitely success. And what is success in terms of a band? In terms of Love Jones? A version of success is having Tool on your album. Traditionally, it's thought of as monetary success, or squarely as numbers. Humans tend to look at things in dollars and numbers, and how many followers do you have, and are you hugely popular? That's pop music. I'm talking about art music and influence. A version of success is just inspiring others. Do I consider it success that Nard wore my name on his shirt with a sexy rabbit poster behind him on a podcast with an interviewer from Louisville when I just started a Tool podcast? Yes. I'm saying total Tool anon so many times because that's a term that Maynard came up with, and I think it's hilarious. Did Maynard give us clues in the same interview to a hidden Tool song in reference to something I talked about on the first podcast of Disgustipated? I would like to think so. I would like to think that he dropped us subtle clues, because I'd like to think that I'm doing something original here. This silly and informative podcast is not just some lame reaction video to a Tool song while people pretend to have heard Tool for the first time ever, making funny faces. Alright, I make a lot of funny faces, but I'm being goofy. I put a lot of thought into this. These are notes. This is somewhat scripted. I have a bad memory, and I like to put it in order before I get to doing it. I put a lot of effort into it, so it is original. And it is the only Tool podcast. What is success to me? Having the only Tool podcast. What is success in the long run? What are my goals? To be the official Tool podcast, Disgustipated. If you dig the show and you also agree that this is something original, funny, informative, or just Tool-tarded, insufferable Tool-tards for life, hit that little baby blue like button. Subscribe. Comment and call me a Tool-tard. Or pick up a Disgustipated Podcast t-shirt. I hope all of you had a happy Thanksgiving. I made this awesome, silly meme for Thanksgiving of the turkey on the Anima cover. I hope you like it. I got some chuckles, and I shared some chuckles with friends over Thanksgiving. Misha George, the admin of the Tool group, We Are Numa, shared it to the group. And the shirt design is really badass. It's got a design by Ramiro Rodriguez from the Anima era Tool merch, t-shirts, and Cesario Cesario. But he's an artist from the Anima era, vinyls and shirts. A small taste of Tool trivia. I know the pieces fit. Name 3 bands that have opened for Tool. We've talked about one of them in this episode, so there's a freebie for you guys. But real quick, here I'll talk about a few more in this month's Disgustipated segment. I'm disgustipated at the definition of success that we have in this culture. Maybe it's human nature really to just break things down into numbers and followers. But bands like Love Jones and the Melvins and the Pixies and many others have inspired many artists and broke the doors down for the movements that they were musical parts of, and really kicked down the doors of movements like the grunge movement and the Melvins, Love Jones and the Cocktail Nation movement. According to Wikipedia, the genre was a reaction to grunge. Cocktail Nation band celebrated the aesthetics and music of the 1950s and early 60s, like lounge jazz, crooning pops, and martinis and suits, romanticizing the cocktail lounge lifestyle. There was actually a band called Lounge Against the Machine. I thought that was pretty funny. Like Rage Against the Machine. But Rage Against the Machine is another directly Tool-adjacent band. Tom Morello was the childhood friend of Adam Jones. More about that in episode 3. Tom Morello was actually at one of Tool's first shows at the Jello Loft, and the Jello Loft is where Tool really connected. Bill Manspeaker from Green Jello, the owner of the Jello Loft, is, as some would say, is the godfather of Tool. Inspiring others is a very powerful form of success. It's a more meaningful, lasting form of success than money. To make something that provokes emotion in another in an intangible way without words, to make someone feel the energy that you felt and relate in a visceral way, inspiring goosebumps or even laughter. I love making people laugh. It's really fun. Laughing is the only thing that stops me from worrying most of the time. But laughter is a visceral reaction, people, it's involuntary, sort of, I mean, you can make yourself laugh too, but the best laughter is involuntary at something funny that happened. But music is the same way. When you deeply connect to something, it causes a visceral reaction, and you'll think about something that happened in your life. Tool does that for me, and I hope to do that for other people with my music. Echoes a virus. Even getting a riff stuck in someone's head is a form of success. My father, who was hugely influential on my music, I was playing guitar around him one day, and then he was walking around whistling something that I wrote, and he didn't know what it was, and I was like, hey, that's my song, I was just playing that. And he's like, oh, is that what that was? I don't know where it got stuck in my head. That's a really cool moment, to involuntarily have your music stuck in somebody's head and they don't know what it is. That's a true compliment. Whereas sometimes people will give you a compliment about your thing. Oh yeah, it's good. But you don't know if they're just saying that because they don't know what else to say. It's hard to gauge what is actually good. But to get stuck in somebody's head, that's a good riff. It's undeniable and it's visceral. That's success. That's the version of success that really matters. Vincent van Gogh was not appreciated in his lifetime, but afterwards, he inspired many, and people love his art to this day. Would it have been nice for him to see his appreciation in his lifetime? Yes. That leads me back to Love Jones. Success is also collaborating with somebody that is very influential to you. Inspiring others is amazing, and when you get validation from somebody that inspired you, it is one of the most meaningful things that you can get. Love Jones is directly Tool adjacent. They are in a very small collection of bands that have direct ties, musically speaking, to Tool. In terms of recordings on albums, such as Henry Rollins on Bottom, Maynard on Passenger. Tool's cover of No Quarter by Led Zeppelin has Buzz Osborne from the Melvins. There's a Melvins song called Divorced that was recorded in collaboration with Tool, and there's also a Rage Against the Machine song that was recorded in collaboration with Tool called Revolution. Features Rage Against the Machine and Tool, and it was recorded for the Judge Dredd movie, but wasn't put on the soundtrack. Rage Against the Machine and Tool have a rich history that I discussed some in episode 2. And listen to episode 1 for more on the Green Jello history. My kids love the Green Jello song, Three Little Pigs. That gets stuck in their head. My band, Vociferous Mutes, the one that played the show, the prog band that I played the show with in the wrestling rink with that guitar, used to cover the Three Little Pigs. Maybe I'll put that on the end of the episode if I can find it. But again, with success, having deep roots with creative people that go on to be in huge bands like Tool, or having the respect from your peers, that's hugely important too. That's a version of success that I feel like is greater than money. Or even being a song that a child sings, like Three Little Pigs. Or inspiring some whistling in your father when your song that you were just playing gets stuck in his head. Or your friend Adam Jones from the hugely influential band Tool liked your band so much that he got you signed to a major record label. Full circle, back to Tool and Love Jones and Louisville. I don't think there is a right way to say it. Anima, enema, anima, enema, anima, enema, anima, enema, anima, enema. Louisville, Louisville. And in honor of Love Jones, I would like to request that Tool play the song Paid for Lovin' at the Louisville, Kentucky show on March 4th, 2022. Pretty please with a Billy D cherry on top. If you're listening, Maynard, Adam, Justin, Danny, if you're listening, the Louisville show is only 6 days before my 36th birthday. Let me get paid for lovin'. I'm Jeff. I'm out. Okay, the rabbits is a good point. I see your point. And the rabbits are sexy. I get it.